where will we be? Right? Okay. Huh? Um, Let me say this. There's televisions, there's televisions, and there's satellites everywhere. There's more important things than sports. For a hobby, we're going to be reading the Bible and connecting with the Most High and doing the will of the Most High. I mean, look for the last week how we've been like on some sort of sabbatical without any TV at all, and we can, brothers and sisters can entertain each other through the Spirit. We can talk about the Most High. There's many things we can do. Some of these sports, and who don't like sports to some degree, it's a pastime, but some of these sports are really distractions. While you dealing with, while we're dealing with who, whether or not Michael Vick is going to play, how many plays he's going to play, who's injured, and what's the score. While we're dealing with this, the banks are about to become bankrupt. They're pulling all money out of the system. They're about to shoot people up with diseases. They're about to kill people and round them up. You understand? So really, television has been a diversion. It keeps us away from the Bible. It keeps us away. It's really something to soothe our spirit, to keep us calm in a time of chaos. It's programming. You notice, have you ever seen on TV where in the midst of your program that you're looking at, you hear that something go beep? This is a test of the emergency broadcast system. If this was a real emergency, we would tell you to do this, 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 and this, and this, and this. You ever seen that on your TV? That's called the emergency broadcast system that have been in place since World War II, and it links to all your radio. It links to all your communication. Now, what this does is, because people are so used to being programmed, and they've conditioned us to have a TV, and not only in every home, but almost in every room. When there's an emergency and the government need to control your goings and your comings, they need everyone to be on the same radio wave. So there's no excuse that you haven't heard what's happening. Even poor people that couldn't afford digital were able to get free converter boxes so that they'll be on the same grid when the government, which FEMA takes over, and come on to your news program and say, this is not a test. When that particular thing happens, all stations will be linked to one broadcast. One broadcast. That means the government will let people know what to do, when to do it, and how to do it in the case of an emergency. And now they're going to do it in a peaceful manner. Like you see these news people be smiling and it seems like everything is okay. And then they'd be like, well, next story, next report. So it's going to seem normal. But what they're going to tell people is, well, there's a pending threat of this outside, and just for your safety, stay inside for a certain amount of days. We're going to give you this amount of time to go to this Walmart or whatever, get some food, but you're going to be locked in for this amount of days because we're trying to protect you from bad people. Okay? So that's how they're going to portray this thing, as their tanks on the road, things are locked down, and they're going door to door, neighborhood to neighborhood, locking everything down. So the test of the emergency broadcast system, them telling people to store food for days at a time, and they've been pushing this since World War II also. Where to report after a disaster if a nuclear attack happens. They were preparing people in junior high and elementary school since Hiroshima and Nagasaki. All these things they've been preparing us for is about to be founded in America. We're just a generation that will see it come to an apex. We're the generation. Okay? So I could care less if they have football or any other sport where we're going. Because we're not going there for sport. We're going to seek the spirit of the Most High. We're going to follow his commandments, and we're going to seek safety and refuge. The same time, we'll be going into these scriptures, coming closer to the Most High. You understand? And becoming closer as a nation. Okay? It's hard here, especially, man, I've been working, I've been working around the clock for a long time, for almost probably 3 to 4 years straight now. You understand? So it's time to go there, get a little reprieve, get our head together, make sure our people are being funneled out, make sure the families are being funneled out, and then after we regroup, the elders, we're going to sit down and we're going to map out the plan in the scriptures that we have to deal with what's over there and to guide things over there. You understand? All right. Brothers and sisters might have noticed on CNN, and you seen this yet, sister? Okay. All right. Okay. There's some good stuff. It says Gaddafi faults UN for wars, the United Nations. Now they putting it here and they writing it like it's some repugnant news, like it's far-fetched that the UN, Gaddafi faults the UN for wars, right? When really he's telling the truth. He's telling the truth. That all these wars are, these UN, these countries that are participating in the UN is a joke. They're all controlled. They're pawns by the Zionists. They're just a front for the people to say that, okay, we voted on this and we all on one accord so that the Zionists can continue to take down and destroy other countries. But there's one thing that the Zionists and those that are controlling this system, there's one power or one thing they've counted out. They've counted out the God of Israel. They should have consulted him. Because the Most High he's going to totally put a trip in their whole plan. Here's one in the Daily News for New York. Madmen. Another crisis at the UN as the crazy twins take to the podium to spout their bizarre vitriol. Now, if you call this biased reporting, now common sense tell you who's controlling the media when they call two of the most powerful men on earth madmen. Okay. Ahmadinejad, which is the president. He's the president of Iran. And you have Gaddafi, which is the Libyan president. Now, two of these guys, the reason why they're trying to defame these particular guys, because they have something in common. They have weapons. They would rather just wipe them out altogether, but you can't just do that with people with weapons. So you must defame them and make it seem like these two people have a problem, an isolated problem, outside of everyone else's thinking. When really, I listened to the whole speech of Ahmadinejad last night, and nothing he said was incorrect. Now, it's not a madman that would say that he believed that God created Adam and Eve, even though he called them Allah. He believed that God created Adam to live, to prosper, to be able to coexist in the earth, and made humans to be able to coexist without destruction and war and chaos. He said that he believed that God first meant for all people to be able to dwell in unity. But there's an element in this earth that will not allow peace that will not allow us to live and get to what God expected man to be from the beginning. He said, even if we all want peace, if there's an element that stirs up war throughout the earth and that cannot be negotiated with, that will always be an issue. Now, he didn't say Israel in particular. He said Zionist. But everything he said was correct. Okay? I mean, it's tricky. Well, to me, it's second nature once you can see the game. Like when you couldn't see, it didn't matter. But now you can see. You look at it and say, how can these people keep pulling the same game every place? The majority of people just can't see. What you do? Make a country a third world country. Make them suffer. Make them deprive. Give them little rations just to let them know that you are around. And then come to their land and say, you know what? We can make you prosperous. After you've made them a third world country, you put your people in office that can negotiate to give up the resources for your money and for your Red Cross and for your banks to make them a civilized country. Now, if you got someone in there that's a problem that will not allow this to happen, then they will get rid of that person and put a democracy and put their own guy in so that they can take the resources of the country and then set up their own military. Now they control your country, right? They give you your religion. They give you everything. But it started off as these people are enemies first, but now they are friends because they allow us to spread our democracy and take the resources and control the people and set up banks and porno clubs and churches. It happens every place. And you would think that some of these countries would be like, you know what, I'm good. I'm not playing on in the international arena, but I still have food. We still have some level of morality. We'd rather stay poor than to have you come in here and destroy us all together. Because that's another thing they bring into these countries. We have some medicine for you. After they have spread the diseases in the country, of course you got the medicine. You made the disease. So this thing is happening all over the place, and now they got their claws in every place in the earth. So, I mentioned earlier that this thing is going to come to an apex, and I'm glad that these guys are on the front page because these guys will play prominent. The Most High is going to use these guys, believe it or not. He's going to use them to vice the whole system that's being set up right now. Let's go to 2nd Ezra. You have your Apocrypha? Let's go to 2nd Ezra 16. For those who don't know what the Apocrypha is, the King James Apocrypha belongs in the Bible. It was taken out of the Bible. Let's get 2nd Ezra. You can use the Apocrypha there. I'll use the annotated. Okay. Huh? The lesson is, let's call this. Okay, what's a good title for this? The Last Days of America. The Last Days of America / Babylon. And the impending World War III. We're going to go into the whole World War III. That's what we're going into. Or you can call it World War III. Or another good title, After Babylon, because this is going to show what's going to happen after Babylon too. So all those subtitles in there. Let me get 2nd Ezra. First Esdras. Back, right? Okay, Second Esdras 16. I had another annotated. It was already marked, but this is good. Okay. Now, mind you, when we go through some of these prophecies that we're about to read in Second Esdras, you have to realize some of the technology or the ingenuity we have today was not founded during Esdras' time. So when he talks about a star and looking at a star coming from one place to the next, or when he talks about a great cloud, that's he's describing what he could relate to at its time. But you're going to see it's clearly talking about a missile going from one place to the next. Okay? So it wasn't no missiles back then. So he had to record things based on the things that were present during his time. All right? I want you to hold the microphone close to you when you read. All right? We go into Jacob's trouble in Jeremiah the 30th chapter when it says, but the Most High shall save us out of this. Right? But we're going to take it a step further. I need you to go to 2nd Esdras 16 in the Apocrypha. You there? Mm-hmm. And I need you to start at the 37th verse.
2nd Esdras 16 and 37. Behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack, as when the woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son.
Hold that till you get.
2nd Esdras 16 and 9, 16 and 37. Behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack, as when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son. Within 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb.
It says within what?
Within 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb, which pains, when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment.
So that's showing you that the Most High is comparing Israel being born in the earth as a comparison to a pregnant woman. That much pain have to happen before you see that bundle of joy. So contractions get worse as you get closer to birth. So to the woman, it's pain, but when it's done, it's life, it's a relief, it's love, it's a baby. So the Most High is comparing our coming in as a nation to a woman bringing forth a child. You can relate this woman to Revelations, the 12th chapter, where it says that the woman brought forth the man child. And and it says that the serpent persecuted the woman that beareth the man child. So that persecution is going to lead up to an hour in which it will be much pain on our people. That's what we're going through now. Okay? The persecution, not knowing who you are. Them planning to kill us in mass numbers. That's this pain it's talking about. Read on.
Verse 39. Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side.
So sorrow should come upon it, will come upon it on every side. Now that also links into, people keep saying, I keep hearing them out there, well, doesn't matter that, it's going to happen every place, so why leave? I hear that all the time, right? It's going to happen everywhere, yes, but the Most High tell us in 2nd Baruch, yes, it's going to happen all over the earth, but the only safe place is going to be where I'm speaking to you, Baruch. Those that are found that same day in this land will be saved, right? Have you ever read that before, sister? No, but I've heard it. Okay. Well, it's time for you to hear it. Somebody go into my bag. Well, I'll get it for you later, okay? Okay. I brought it out at one of the classes lately, so We've been having classes all over the place. So read on.
Verse 40. O my people, hear my word. Make you ready to the battle, and those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth.
So the Most High says, even though it's going to happen all over the earth, we have to make ready for the battle and be like pilgrims in the earth. What is pilgrims? When something breaks down in one spot, be ready to go someplace else. Be prepared to make a move. Pilgrims, even if we relate the pilgrims that took over, that came here from Europe, they started off living in wagons. Everything they owned were in their wagons. Their weapons, their food, their tools, their family, their children. Why? Because they knew they had to be on the wheels in case the Indians came after them. You understand? And then they was prepared to take their wagons and put them together in a circle and make it a fort to fight against the Indians. Pilgrims stay on wheels. Read it again.
Verse 40. O my people, hear my word. Make you ready to the battle, and in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth.
It says, in those evils be as pilgrims upon the earth. So be prepared to move from one place to the next. But how is that possible if the American government is setting up garrisons to stop you from moving from city to city? So you can't even fulfill that. You can't even fulfill that prophecy here in America. You can't be a pilgrim here because you will not be able to go from New Jersey to Pennsylvania or Arizona to California or Texas, let alone go from a country to another country. That's what they're preparing for here. Read.
Verse 41. He that selleth, let him be as he that fleeth away.
So you that selleth, be as though you're going to flee away and not get the money for it. Read.
And he that buyeth, as one that will lose. He that occupieth merchandise, as he that hath no profit by it. And he that buildeth, as he shall not dwell therein. He that soweth, as if he should not reap. So also he that planteth the vineyard, as he that should not gather the grapes. They that marry, as they that should get no children. And they that marry not, as the widowers. And therefore they that labor in vain.
So all this working we have done in America have been for nothing. Your profession, everything they told you you could be, it's over. If you wasn't that, if you didn't grow up in the 50s and 60s and was really able to take advantage of the American dream, chalk it up. It's over. It's over. Okay? Because you're working in vain. One day your corporation is going to say, oh, no more. No more jobs for you. Sorry. Go to the unemployment line. Oh, I'm sorry, no unemployment lines? Go to the food line. We got some food for you. But in order to get this food, you must get chipped. And that's if you survive the swine flu attack. Read.
Verse 46. For strangers shall reap their fruits, and spoil their goods, overthrow their houses, and take their children captives. For in captivity and famine shall they get children. And they that occupy their merchandise with robbery, the more they deck their cities, their houses, their possessions, and their own persons, the more I will be angry with them for their sin, saith the Lord.
So the Most High say, the more you worry about your own and deck your own self, the more the Most High become angry with you. Because while you're dealing with yourself, his people are suffering. Read.
Verse 49. Like as a whore envieth a righteous and virtuous woman, so shall righteousness hate iniquity when she decketh herself, and shall accuse her face to face, when he cometh that shall defend him that diligently searcheth out every sin upon the earth.
Go ahead.
And therefore be ye not like thereunto, nor to the works thereof. For yet a little, and iniquity shall be taken away out of the earth, and righteousness shall reign among you. Let not the sinner say that he have not sinned, for the Most High shall burn coals of fire upon his head, which say before the Lord God and his glory, I have not sinned. Behold, the Lord knoweth all the works of men, their imaginations, their thoughts, and their hearts, which spake but the word, let the earth be made, and it was made. Let the heavens be made, and it was created. In his word were the stars made, and he knoweth the numbers of them. He searcheth the deep, and the treasures thereof. He hath measured the sea, and what it containeth. He hath shut the sea in the midst of the waters, And in his word he hath hanged the earth upon the waters. He spreadeth out the heavens like a vault. Upon the waters hath he founded it. In the deserts he hath made springs of water, the pools upon the tops of the mountains, that floods might pour down from the high rocks to water the earth. He made man and put his heart in the midst of the body, and gave him breath, life, and understanding. Yea, the Spirit of the Almighty God, which made all things, and searcheth out all hidden things in the secrets of the earth. Surely he knoweth your inventions, and what ye think in your hearts, even them that sin, and would hide their sin. Therefore hath the Lord exactly searched out all your works, and he will put you all to shame. And when your sins are brought forth, ye shall be ashamed before men, and your own sins shall be your accusers in that day. What will ye do? And how will ye hide your sins before the Most High and his angels? Behold, the Most High is the judge. The Most High himself is the judge. Fear him. Leave off from your sins.
So now we have to fear the Most High and leave off from our sins. Read.
And forget your iniquities.
And forget our iniquities. All the things that oppress us and hold us down, forget them. All the weights, we have to concentrate and put all our cares on the Most High. Read.
To meddle no more with them forever. So shall the Most High lead you forth.
Read it again.
To meddle no more with them forever. So shall the Most High lead you forth.
So we know that by putting down our actions, the Most High lead us forth. He commands us. He guides us. Go ahead.
And deliver you from all trouble. For behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you. And they shall take away certain of you, and feed you, being idle with things offered unto idols.
And that's what's going on now. While you idle, you're being fed things sacrificed to idols. Look at these stores we're frequenting and the things we're eating. You go into a store looking at a dragon on the front of the store. Walk in the store and you'll see the idols in the store, but you will go in there and say, okay, let me get some chicken and broccoli. Or let me get this. You will go into a Muslim store and see a rock with people marching around a rock and say, you know what? Let me get some fish fried rice. So while you're being idle, you're eating things sacrificed to idols. This food is being prayed to these gods. Read.
Verse 69. And they that consent unto them shall be had in derision, and in reproach, and trodden under foot. For there shall be in every place, and in the next cities, a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord.
So there will be a great insurrection on those that fear the Lord. Why? Because this attack is against those that fear the Most High. Everything they're planning is to stomp out the elect. Satan's children, or the people that are following this system, the elite and all that, they're not fearful of these diseases and all that and the swine flu, because they know they don't have to take it. It's not aimed towards them. It's aimed towards us. There was a study that was done, and we read the study last week that says that this will affect 3 out of 4. Azo, you all right? When it comes to every Caucasian person, for every Caucasian person that's a threat to die from the swine flu, 4 minorities will die from it. Because it's really aimed towards helping those that might die from it that have diabetes, high blood pressure, asthma, all the things they gave us in our vaccinations. And now they're aiming the swine flu like these people are the target people that should be first on the list to receive the swine flu vaccine. Right? Now I'm going to show you how diabolical and wicked this is. They know the side effects of this swine flu, but they say that they cannot give the numbers on whether or not it's good or bad until a certain number of people are vaccinated. So we're going to test the people that we feel, that are at risk first with it, kill these people, and then go back and tell the rich people, the people that it doesn't really matter, well, y'all can't get it because based on the pool, based on the fact that half the people died that we gave it to, it's not safe. And then they're going to, for the people that are left in America after they done killed so many, they're going to say, well, stop crying and stop going against the government, and let's come up with a solution. We needed a quick fix to the problem, but we didn't know this was going to happen. Let's just concentrate on solving the problem now after everyone is dead. That's how they operate. Read on.
Verse 71. They shall be like madmen, sparing none.
They shall be like madmen, sparing none. And that's also talking about the UN armies that will be over here. They will not spare you because they don't have no emotional attachment to you. You are an American. Read.
But still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses.
They shall take away your goods and cast you out of your houses. So everyone that think that your TV and your house and your car are going to stay intact, watch. You're going to be like, well, I'm an American citizen. So what? America is a corporation, all right, that have been sold. It's over. You're under the Patriot law. You're under the UN laws now. You're under the world laws now. Read.
Verse 73. Then shall they be known who are my chosen.
Now, when you're kicked out, that's when it'll be known who really belongs to the Most High. Anybody can say they're down with God now. Oh, I got a nice house. I got a nice car. God done blessed me. Will you feel the same once you're kicked out? I wonder what the prosperity preachers, they're not going to have no material after this one. What material can they use now on Sundays? Now that your things mean nothing. Read.
And they shall be tried as gold in the fire. Hear, O my beloved, saith the Lord. Behold, the days of trouble are at hand.
The days of trouble is at hand. Read.
But I will deliver you from the same.
Read it again.
The days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same.
I will deliver you from the same. Now, for those who think that this scripture is talking about I can sit down here in America and just keep the commandments every day and not sin and just wait here in America and the Most High going to pick me up and place me someplace, you're in some deep trouble. All right? Now, you are right that the Most High will accept you once you pass. But you cannot receive the mark of the beast. You fall into that category. Those that rejected the mark of the beast and took your death. And let me make it clear, there's nothing wrong with that. But don't think the Most High is going to pick you up and place you someplace. The Most High say be like pilgrims in that day. Why would he say be like pilgrims if he's going to save you in the place you're at? Why would he tell you to move? So all you people that's thinking that I can stick right here because it's going to happen any place, anywhere, anyway, you don't have no faith in the word. How can you expect the Most High to protect you if you're not going to follow what he say? If he's commanded you to do something and you're sitting pat, what God are you following? Read on.
Verse 74. Hear, O ye my beloved, saith the Lord. Behold, the days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same.
Now let's go into what's happening with who this government and media calls madmen. Okay? Now, I was even talking in the car earlier, and I'm like, it's amazing how this government spin things and how they spin things and make it seems like everyone is an enemy that's not friends of Israel. It's amazing. It's like what Ahmadinejad was saying was, how can these people be the authority of what a terrorist are when they have been the biggest terrorists since they have owned the state of Israel? How can these people be the authority to tell the world what a terrorist is? All right? A terrorist would allow, a terrorist would take out stock, or what you would call insurance on a building a few months before it would be imploded, and claim that planes ran into it. And there was 6 Zionists or 6 Jewish guys on the roof looking at the World Trade Center being attacked. They actually had like a seat on a building with a camera looking at the building, knowing that it was going to happen well before it happened. instead of them questioning these guys, they took them in like they was questioning them, put them on a plane and shipped them back to Israel. Now this is all documented. This is, have you knew that, sister? This is all documented facts. That 9 of the people that they claimed hijacked the planes were actually home, some of them home, look in their living room saying, look, I'm on TV. Okay? All the cameras that were around were confiscated by the government so that people could not do an investigation on what type of planes really ran into the building. The eyewitnesses on the ground said, look, the plane don't like it have any windows. What was that about? And it's like, so that nobody was in the plane? They had drills done. Let me tell you, this is how wicked this is, how diabolical this is. The same thing that was done on 9/11 was in a preliminary report in the CIA in the late 60s. Like they had a report that in order to get public sentiment that they could, maybe run an airline into a building. That was like a tactic to get people behind government. All right? So all these things all the terrorist acts are happening by the people that are calling everyone terrorist. That's what this guy's talking about here. Like, what? Let me tell you, what have Ahmadinejad did wrong? Someone tell me one thing this man did wrong. But speak up about the death and destruction that have happened in the Middle East since the state of Israel have been founded. That because he have weapons and a voice, that's the problem. And let me tell you, America don't have no problem with all these other places. America's in the fight because Israel owns America. That's the only reason America is actually in any of these wars. It's because these people, the state of Israel, own America. So if you are an enemy of people that are killing everyone, if you are a friend of that one that's killing everyone, then you automatically become an enemy also. A lot of these countries don't have anything against America per se, but they know America is really the bulldog for Israel. Okay, all those weapons they have over in the Middle East they're using in Israel are all American-made weapons. So really, that's an extension of America in Israel. That's why they call it the state of Israel. America got another state over there. All right? So let's go into the scriptures and see the end result of this thing, how it's going to play out. Go over to 2 Ezra 15 for me, please. You ready? Let's start the 20th verse and let's see what's going on here. We just seen the Security Council just 2 days ago, right? What is this about? Who's calling it together, right? Start at the 20th verse. Read.
2 Ezra 15 and 20. Behold, saith the Most High, I will call together all the kings of the earth to reverence me.
The Most High says he will call all the kings of the earth together to reverence him. So these kings, like you see, Ahmadinejad and this king here, the president of Libya, Gaddafi, he's calling them together. He's stirring them up. I mean, Gaddafi even came out and said, man, listen, we believe that the United States and Barack Obama need to open up a new investigation on the murder of JFK and Martin Luther King. And here it is. Gaddafi don't have no stake in America. To let you know that the people outside of America care more about you than you care about yourself. Because what he's saying is if these people can wage such war against their own, What do you think they care about the people outside of America? He said, if y'all was really trying to do something in America, Barack Obama, why don't you open up the investigation on innocent deaths like JFK and Martin Luther King? So how can you tell us, how can you tell us what's going on, going down in our country and try to correct us when you got people killing people unjustly in your own country? Right? Read on.
I will call together the kings of the earth to reverence me, which are from the rising of the sun, from the south.
That's from the what?
From the rising of the sun.
From the rising of the sun. Where did the sun rise at? Over there in the Middle East, the east. That's where the sun rises, and it sets in the west. So the Most High is calling these kings together. Now I'm going to tell you something about these kings that was at the Security Council the other day, the UN Security Council. They don't care if you don't like them, because there's a spirit on these men. They don't care. They don't care if you call them madmen, but their people back them, because why? These guys will defend their people to the end. They have integrity. Israel cannot buy them. That's why they're a problem. Read.
From the south, from the east, and Libanus, to turn themselves one against another.
And from what?
And from Libanus.
Libanus. Spell that.
Libanus.
Libanus, which is Libya. Read.
To turn themselves one against another and repay the things that they have done to them.
Go ahead.
Like as they do yet this day unto my chosen, so will I do also.
So the Most High is really stirring up all the kings of this earth to fight against each other based on what they did to the children of Israel. All nations have enslaved us at one point in history. So these wars are making all these nations fight each other. And then afterwards, the ultimate warrior, the king, is going to come and stamp out the residue of their armies that are left. Read.
And recompense in their bosom. Thus saith the Lord God, my right hand shall not spare the sinners, and my sword shall not cease over them that shed innocent blood upon the earth.
Go ahead.
The fire is gone forth from his wrath, and hath consumed the foundations of the earth, and the sinners like the straw that is kindled. Woe to them that sin, and keep not my commandments, saith the Lord.
That's the key. We must keep the commandments of the Most High to make it through this. Read.
I will not spare them. Go your way, ye children, from the power. Defile not my sanctuary. For the Lord knoweth all them that sin against him, and therefore delivereth he unto death and destruction. For now are the plagues come upon the whole earth, and ye shall remain in them. For the Most High shall not deliver you, because you have sinned against him. So
the Most High will not deliver us if we're in our sins. Read.
Verse 28. Behold, an horrible vision, and the appearance thereof from the east.
What's coming from the east? Read.
Verse 29. Where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots.
They shall come out with many chariots. Read.
And the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon the earth.
That's flying. Read.
That all they which hear them may fear and tremble. Also the Carmenians raging in wrath.
The Carmenians are Iraqis. Read.
Shall go forth as wild boars of the wood, and with great power shall they come, and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians. And then shall the dragons have the upper hand, remembering their nature. And if they shall turn themselves, conspiring together in great power to persecute them, then these shall be troubled, and keep silence through their power, and shall flee.
Hold up one moment. The Carmenians, are Parthians. Parthians are Persians or Iranians. So the Carmenians are coming into the war. That's what it's showing here. Now, mind you, this was prophesied or shown thousands of years before these events have went down. That lets you know how exact the Bible is. It's letting you know in order which Arabians are being called into the war. Tell me the Bible is not 100% correct. Read on.
Verse 33. And from the land of the Assyrians shall the enemy besiege them, and consume some of them. And then their host shall fear and dread, and the strife among their kings. Behold, clouds from the east, and from the north unto the south. And they are very horrible to look upon.
These clouds is talking about because this is an impending nuclear war. So what Esdras is seeing here, Right after these events happen, clouds are being moved in each area. He's seeing bombs being dropped down and smoke or mushroom clouds. Read that again.
Verse 34. Behold, clouds from the east and from the north unto the south, and they are very, very horrible to look upon.
And they're very horrible to look upon. Read.
Full of wrath and storm. They shall smite one upon another, and they shall smite down a great multitude of stars upon the earth.
Stars upon the earth are missiles. Read.
Even their own star, and blood shall be from the sword unto the belly, and dung of men unto the camel's hoof.
There will be much death from these clouds. That's nuclear missiles. Read.
Verse 37. And there shall be great fearfulness and trembling upon the earth, and they that see the wrath shall be afraid, and trembling shall come upon them. And then shall there come great storms from the south, and from the north, and another part from the west. And strong winds shall arise from the east, and shall open it. And the cloud which he raised up in wrath, and the star stirred to cause fear toward the east and west wind shall be destroyed. The great and mighty cloud shall be lifted up full of wrath, and the star, that they may make all the earth afraid, and them that dwell therein. And they shall pour out over every high and eminent place an horrible star, fire and hell, and flying swords.
Flying swords. So that's missiles flying from one place to the next. That's what's coming. That's what's coming. Read. So let me tell you, Israel can press Iran and press these other countries all they want, but these countries have nuclear capability. And let me tell you, they're itching to use them. Because they know either way, if they don't use them, they're going to die anyway. Because Israel is relentless. They're not going to let up until democracy reigns throughout the whole Middle East, and they have inhabited the whole world. Okay? So these Middle Easterns are not as gullible as Americans. You can't go into their country and say, you know what? We have a disease to give you to stop you from getting the disease. They're not that simple. Okay? Even Gaddafi stood up and say, I want to say start off and say this, that the H1N1 is a military weapon against the people. Straight up on the Security Council. Go listen to it. And now they call them the madmen. See, Israel would rather these guys take the money, turn over their people to Israel, have them inoculate them with all types of vaccines, demoralize them with all types of programming that really takes away their moral content, put churches in witchcraft and sorcery and astrologers all over the place, turn the women into prostitutes, bring in MTV and music video. This is what they would rather happen. But these guys are not going for it. That's why they're being portrayed in the media as madmen. Because you cannot buy them. So this is what's going to happen. Continue to read. Read on.
Verse 41. Fire and hell and flying swords and many waters, that all fields may be full, and all rivers, with the abundance of great waters. And they shall break down the cities and walls, mountains and hills.
Now check out what's about to happen next.
Trees of wood, and grass of the meadows, and their corn.
Hold up. What missile or what type of weapon can wipe out waters, grain, everything? A nuke. That's what Ezra was seeing. When the Bible says that it will move the waters out of its place, what can move a water out of its place? A nuke. That's what Ezra was seeing. What can move a mountain? A nuke. Read.
Verse 43. And they shall go steadfastly unto Babylon, and make her afraid.
And do what?
And make her afraid.
So once these wars break out over there, it's coming over here. Read. This is for the people that are left, that have survived, that have taken the chip and think they're okay here. Read.
Verse 44.
Now, mind you, these are the people that are still waiting on Christ to come pick them up now. Let's see the next verse and see if Christ come in this next verse. Read.
Verse 44. They shall come to her and besiege her. The star and all wrath shall they pour out upon her. Then shall the dust and smoke go up unto the heaven, and all they that be about her shall bewail her.
All that shall be about her shall be well her, like you read in Revelation the 18th chapter. So when these wars break out over the Middle East and they start using nukes, they're coming here shortly thereafter because they know that America and Israel is behind these wars over the Middle East. Don't be surprised if Israel launch a nuke.
So you're saying more wars are going to break out in the Middle East?
They're going to break out in the Middle East. Now, while all things they're already happening, these wars are going on right now. Okay, the flying swords and the missiles, they're happening to some degree. But the whole deal is, while they are depopulating America, you understand, and destroying people in America, prophecies are being fulfilled over there. That's going to bring these wars and these missiles from the Middle East to Babylon. So even when these people get through the middle, the high class and all these who think they're going to escape the H1N1 and try to set up a society with less people, they still are going to be destroyed here. Okay? They're going to try to make America a corporate entity where some of the other countries own different parts of America after breaking it down. They got plans for this place outside of the poor. Okay? But they think they're going to thrive after this depopulation. It's not going to happen. Because right after the wars they started over in the Middle East are going to come back over here. That's the part that they didn't count on. Okay? Read.
Verse 45. And they that remain under her shall do service unto them.
And they that what? Read the verse before that.
Verse 44. They shall come to her and besiege her. The star in all wrath shall they pour out upon her. Then shall dust and smoke go up unto the heaven, and all they that be about her shall bewail her.
All that be about her shall bewail her. Read.
Verse 45. And they that remain under her shall do service unto them that have put her in fear.
So once America is knocked out of the box, people are going to do service to the countries that took her out. What country is going to take her out? You're going to have Europe along with the Asians. Because the Persians are not Arabs, even though they live in Arabia. They're Persians, which are sons of Japheth. Okay? Read.
Verse 46. And thou, Asia.
Thou who?
And thou, Asia.
Now it's pointing to the people that helped take America out, who everyone is have reference under now that America's gone. Now the Most High is going to point his destruction towards the Asians next. Read.
That are partaker of the hope of Babylon.
They are the partakers. Everything Asia have is because of the technology in America. They just became another America. They made themselves a Wall Street. All their cars, all their technology is because they made America ingenuity smaller and cheaper. Read.
And all they that be about her shall bewail her. And verse 45. And they that remain under her shall do service unto them that have put her in fear.
Go ahead.
And thou, Asia, that art partaker of the hope of Babylon, and art the glory of her person.
Go ahead.
Woe be unto them, thou wretched, because thou hast made thyself like unto her.
Because you put yourself a Wall Street up. Now you acting just like Americans now. At one point, Asians had integrity. They had honor. You understand? They didn't mix and mingle with the wickedness of Babylon. Now, you go downtown, you have an Asian with a mohawk walking around with pink hair. Spikes around his neck. So now they've become what America is. At one time, they had total honor. They lived off, that was part of their code. They dressed, their women used to dress a certain way. They would never dress provocative. At one point, they was about their business and going home. But now look. They have made themselves just like Babylon. Read.
And has decked thy daughters in whoredom.
And have did what?
And has decked thy daughters in whoredom.
And they have decked their daughters in whoredom. They have sold themselves to America to achieve what everyone called the American dream. Now look what, not only that, look at the mess they did over in Asia now. Some of the water you can't even drink because they tried to keep up with America. So the Most High, as soon as this place is destroyed, he's going to aim towards China and those countries next. They're the next on the Most High's hit list. They're not going to escape. Read. Because the idea of America has spread throughout the earth. The spirit of Babylon have spread it. So as soon as this place is judged, the Most High going to smell the sweet savor of this place on fire and smoking. Then he's going to be like, okay, let me look over here. Let's go get these agents now. Read.
That they might please and glory in thy lovers, which have always desired to commit whoredom with thee. Thou hast followed her that is hated in all her works and inventions. Therefore saith the Most High, I will send plagues upon thee, widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, and pestilence, to waste thy houses, and destruction and death. And the glory of thy power shall be dried up as a flower, when the heat shall rise that is sent over thee. Thou shalt be weakened as a poor woman with stripes, and as one chastened with wounds, so that the mighty and lovers shall not be able to receive thee.
Go ahead.
Verse 52. Would I with jealousy have so proceeded against thee, saith the Lord. If thou hast not always slain my chosen, exalting the stroke of thy hand.
So why is the Most High sending these wars? Read it again.
Verse 53. If thou hast not always slain my chosen.
Because they always slain the Most High's chosen. Each nation have taken advantage of the Most High's people in the fact that the children of Israel have no idea who they are. Look in our neighborhoods. It's like all the nations take turns taking all the finances and morality and sense of pride out of the neighborhood to build themselves. So the Most High said, listen, because you know who these people are and you're treating them wrong. I seen a video they took off of YouTube the other day where they took this one brother, killed him, this Chinese store. It's guys in a Chinese store. In the middle of this wilderness, cut the man open and filleted him for meat. Boiled his skull, took the meat off of his skull, and used the meat and boiled it with different broths so they can use in some of their stores. Now, this was an actual video that was up on YouTube for about 2 days, and then they said that it was bad content, and they took it off and said that, but somebody put it up there and said, be sure what you're eating in these Chinese stores, and showed these guys with actual pictures with a black guy cutting him open like he was a cow. Just filleting his meat, everything. A regular old brother. See, but the Most High be seeing these things. We don't know what, let me tell you, in order for you to have the dragon as your emblem, I mean, there's nothing, these guys deal with sacrifice all the time. And some of the greatest sacrifices in these societies be sacrificing to Moloch or sacrificing a child of Israel. So you get these rich people, all these people with this money, they go over to these countries, they know they're buying Israelites and sacrificing children. So the Most High be seeing these things, and he's going to bring the judgment. All these countries have done it. All these nations have done it. None of them are exempt. Read on.
Verse 53. If thou hadst not always slain my chosen.
If thou have not always slain my chosen. Now the Most High is telling us why he's going to actually destroy not only Babylon, but the other countries that have taken advantage of us. Okay, read.
Exalting the stroke of thy hands, and saying over their dead, when thou wast drunken, set forth the beauty of thy countenance. The reward of thy whoredom shall be in thy bosom. Therefore shalt thou receive recompense, like as thou hast done unto my chosen, saith the Lord.
So the Most High believe in payback. I don't know what God they teaching of in these churches. Judgment and payback is part of what the Most High bring. You're getting over on these people. You're lying on these people. You're killing these people. And they're my people. So I'm going to cause you people to go against each other and war against each other. And I'm going to take y'all out based on what you did to my people. They lost their identity. You didn't lose their identity. You knew who these people were. But yet you treated them wrong. You destroyed, you killed them, you took things from them. You didn't even tell them that they were my people. So the God is putting this, the Most High God, Ahaya, the God that no one wants to deal with, no one wants to pronounce. They dread his name. You don't even hear his name in the earth. He made everything. You're not even saying his name. He's going to recompense judgment on all these nations. And let me tell you this. These Israelis and these occupiers in Israel, because they have so much money and prestige, and because they own the jails and the corporations in America, think that they are above the law. They think that they are above God. They're playing God. But you know what? I'm so glad they're in Israel right now. This is the perfect place for them. I've thought about it. Because when Christ, our Savior, Yeshua, come from the east, they're going to be right there. He's going to take care of these guys first. I thank the Most High. Huh? No, we're talking about the Israelis that are really behind all the wars, these Zionists. Because the Zionists, they have a doctrine that's against mankind. And even though they are a small minority, they use money to control people. All right? But what people don't realize by helping these people, that even if you help them, you are still on their depopulation list. They don't want anyone to exist, even the people they're paying for a time. Okay? But the Most High is going, let me tell you, the Most High is going to deal with these people that are worshiping and banging their head on a dome of the rock, that are putting notes in for the jinns, that are worshiping and bowing to Satan under the dome of the rock in Jerusalem, that have been sacrificing God's people, that have been lying and destroying the earth. The Most High going to deal with them. Because if it was, let me tell you, Satan needed some people to execute his rule in the earth. And they said, we'll do it. Choose us. We got it. What you want us to do, Satan? We need you to get rid of these people, because these people one day, if they get to the right place and the Spirit of the Most High come on them, they're going to come against me, and they're going to take down all the other nations under Christ. So you need to help me kill these people. Sure, Satan, we'll do it. That's what they did. The synagogue of Satan. Okay? They lied and took Palestine knowing that we were coming. So they got the land to set up a military to stop prophecy, to slow us up from getting into the land. But the Most High always did it a different way. Even when we had to go into the land of Canaan, we had to walk around the wilderness first before the Most High allowed those that would come in to get in. You understand? So we're going to do the same again. We're going to get there. We're not going to go straight in there, but we'll get there. We're going to follow the voice of the Most High and look at these prophecies unfold. When we get outside of this country, we will see. It's going to be news all around the earth. We will see this place burn. We'll see it. Why? Because the Bible said it will happen. We'll see it. And Revelations, the 18th chapter, breaks down the destruction of Babylon. Revelations 19 breaks down the second coming of Christ. So this place will be going on a few years after, this earth will still be maintaining to some degree after Babylon is destroyed. See, the biggest problem that our people have in America, we think that the end of America is the end of the world. You've been programmed to think that. But you have some people that have never visited this country, ever. Like, America is so foreign to them as Iran is to some of you. You have some people that, America only exists on TV. So that's what they've programmed you to think. When you start talking about what's happening in the Bible and what's going on, people, and you tell them that Babylon is going to be destroyed, they're like, oh, the end of the world. No, it's not the end. It's the end of this place. Wake up. It's not the end of the world. It's the end of this wicked society. So y'all understand that? We put it out there because we talk to people and they've been programmed to think that this is it. And our reality is really not reality. People look at us like Americans are some of the most gullible, unlearned people in the earth. Because you go along with whatever they give you on TV. And these governments really don't understand why the minority fights in these wars. You're nothing to this government. But yet you'll go over there and kill somebody for this government and then come back and still be a slave. Wake up. Give me Joel the 3rd chapter and Ezekiel the 37th chapter. It's time, let's heat this thing up a little bit. Go ahead.
What verse is it? Second and the 15th verse.
You can start at the 34th verse, or you can really start at the 28th verse, which says, there's a terrifying sight appearing from the east. The nations of the dragons of Arabia. To let you know that they done stirred up the wrong gods in the Middle East. Okay? You can say what you want, but any guy that'll strap a bomb on himself in the name of Allah, these are people you need to stay away from. Can you pour some of that in for me, son? I don't know how you can fight against that. All right? And you know, some people usually come up to me and talk with me one-on-one sometimes, and thank you, son. Thank you. I really appreciate it, son. And you know, I mean, the last time that we was at a speaking, well, not the last time, but one of the last times, because we was at a speaking, and another brother came up and spoke. And one guy came. It was a guy. He been coming. You know. I ask him all the time, man. When you gonna come through and be a part of this, man? You a strong dude, strong, muscular, light-skinned brother. And I mean, we can use you, man. He looked like he built like a tank. I'm like, man, we can use you for security or something. I'm like, you a warrior, right? He come down all the time. The light-skinned guy, remember? And he loved the teachings and all that. And one of the last times I seen him, he came to me and he said, it's almost here, ain't it? I'm like, yeah, it's almost here, brother. And he said, Ricard, just tell me, man. He said, brother, he said, do you really believe everything that you've been teaching out here? He said, do you really believe it? Do you know it's going to happen? And I just started smiling. I'm like, brother, do you think I'll be out here in the wintertime? I can see the breath coming out of my mouth if I didn't believe what I was reading. I'm like, do you believe it? He was like, man, I believe it, man, but I don't know, man. It's like, it's kind of surreal. He says, I don't know nothing else. I'm like, get a flyer, brother, and just come with us, man. I told you from the beginning. Because when people hear it, they know it's real. They can feel it in their spirit. But they're dealing with time. They're dealing with, okay, I can believe it's going to happen because it's out of the Bible. I believe the Bible. But, I mean, people have said many things was going to happen through other times, and yet we're still here. How do we know this is the time? And I showed him, like, listen, brother. And I showed him, like, we never had a time in which all the things the Most High said would happen would be in the earth at one time. One thing would happen, then it would move out the way. Then another thing would happen, and then that would move out the way. Then another thing would happen. So it was culminating. But now it's like in Second Esdras, the mingling of all those things together at one time, to the point where you don't know which way these prophecies are coming from. They're hitting you on every side. There's nothing on the news that can happen in the news that will surprise anyone anymore. This is it. I mean, can it get any worse? They are planning with graves. They are planning to kill U.S. citizens. Just right out. Shoot poison in you and make it mandatory. Have that ever happened on this scale in the earth? In America? They're making you voluntary. And this is another thing. I want to put this out there. We've been hearing this Jim Jones thing. These guys are another Jim Jones. Let me make it clear. Any brother or sister of any persuasion that was crazy enough, that was out of their mind to follow this Jim Jones guy. Let's make it clear. Jim Jones, folks, first of all, he worked for the federal government. He was raised a Catholic, okay? He started dealing with the fire and brimstone Baptist teaching because that was a new way of making money, to go into black gullible churches, okay? And just shout and do all that stuff so he can make money off of them. They followed this guy into a compound. That's number one. He told them he was taking them to paradise. Now, anybody was on, how can you compare the same? We talking about scriptures. You deal with yourself. You're not dealing with no compound. You understand? You got a round trip ticket. You can be through if you can do whatever you want to do. This is where we're going to be. We're not telling people you have to be with us. You understand? Jim Jones was an actual government plant. And what they don't tell the people, now check this out. They don't tell the people that it was the government forcing people to drink the Kool-Aid, and they didn't publicize all the black people that had slugs up in them. That was dead through gunshot wounds. So really what they showed on TV was the American public spin of what happened over there. Because they didn't want anyone to come up later with any idea of taking resources out of America. So they spend it that way. Okay? They spend it like that, brothers and sisters. Number one, Jim Jones, I'm not going to give him a pass. He was out of his mind. He wasn't using any scriptures. When you study this guy, he wasn't dealing with the Bible at all. He was dealing with the black Baptist teaching. Okay? So they have the better chance of taking somebody someplace they have no business than someone in the Bible, because these people that he was dealing with didn't even know the Bible. They were Christians. They were Christians. So how can you, why don't you blame what happened to these people on Christians? That was a Christian that did that. Let's make this clear. He was a government plant. He had ties to have worked for the federal government. He got these people out there separated by themselves in his compound. It was madness. He had a thing where everyone had to get money together, and he was the sole accountee over the account and controlled all the people. So I'm hearing this stuff. I'm like, Jim Jones. Have you studied Jim Jones? The Most High say, listen, come out of her, my people. All right? Don't have nothing to do with following a man. If you don't know any brother, leave America. Get off of this continent. It's not about following a man. Okay? I wasn't there when the Most High inspired John to write, come out of her, my people. Neither was other brothers in different groups or who understand who they are. They wasn't around when this was written. It's time. And a matter of fact, who's about to play Jim Jones now? the United States government, Barack Obama, get your syringe. Take your own Kool-Aid. The H1N1. That's Jim Jones. You can order. Huh? Yeah. So let's make it clear. They have a private kit in which you can order from your home to shoot the H1N1 virus in yourself. And the chip. And you don't need a medical license or nothing. Just order it. Where did you find this information? Hold on, let me see if I can see this. Do it yourself chip injection? Okay, one moment. Yeah, I'm doing that now. Hold on, let me see if I. No, I don't see that. Did you send it to us? Okay. What? Okay. I guess we'll finish this lesson Saturday. It's about 9:15. I want to say this. I want to say this. One moment.